Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168.
And I don't think we've met Hilary Black. Hilary, have we talked yet on the air? I don't think so.
You know what? We chatted once, and I'm glad it was such a memorable conversation for you, Todd. It was like a highlight of my year, and you don't even remember me. I'm crushed.
You know.
Pass me some Kleenex, would you? Oh, what a devastating start to this conversation.
Hilary, first off, I really do. I was concussed 11 times as a child. I have very bad retention. I said, please, I'm not even over-exaggerating that number. I could barely walk.
As long as you don't blame your terrible memory on all the cannabis you've been consuming, you're all right.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. If anything, the CBD is the only thing that allows me to focus in life and not get too anxious. Sorry, I'm so sorry, but it had to have been a long time ago.
Fine. It's fine. It was a while ago. Clearly, we need to be set up to chit chat more often.
Please.
I'm glad to be here today.
Well, Lord knows we're getting sick of Adam Greenblatt. No.
Oh no! Now you're talking shit about my work husband.
No.
Those are serious fighting words.
No, come on. He's the wizard, as we like to refer to him, as the king. We love that guy.
Yeah, he wanted to get in on this conversation today, and I had to, chest block him and be like, no, this one's all mine, Adam. You get your own date with Todd. You back out of my time.
Hilary, with that kind of fortuitousness, I like this. I want you weekly. This is what we want. Some confidence on the program. This is amazing.
Well, we have some exciting stuff happening this week. So, I tend to kind of be a little bit quiet for months at a time as I brew up projects. And then suddenly we get to talk about them. And this is a really big week.
Yeah, congratulations. I think most of us know now that yesterday in the Senate, they voted on Bill C-45 to eventually make it into law. And it was adopted with an overwhelming majority, really, if you look at the numbers. So congratulations to really everyone who's been such an advocate and a pioneer within this industry, and Canopy Growth being the largest LP in the planet and obviously in Canada then. What was that like when you hear this news last night for the corporation as a whole?
Well, I think that we're seeing some really amazing social change, and it's an incredible thing to be a part of. I mean, I started distributing cannabis civilly disobediently 20 years ago, and I have done a lot of government relations over the years, including working with the Senate in 2002. And so slowly, the country is moving along, and I really need to take my hat off to the team at Health Canada that ran the task force process and have drafted this bill and are sort of massaging and moving it through the political process. So, some people like to call this legalization 1.0, but we need to start somewhere and show that the sky is not going to fall when we start retailing rec cannabis and sort of continue to move and expand from there. But, I got to say that as much as the Senate vote yesterday was incredibly exciting, there's something else that happened this week that is an even almost as big a deal to me. And I'd love to chat with you about that a little bit.
I would love to hear about it.
So it's a little bit on the serious side, but I mean, as we're all aware, we have a really serious opioid overdose epidemic in this country. And being from British Columbia, we're kind of like a little bit more on the front lines of it in terms of the number of people that are dying on a daily basis. And there has been so much conversation about the potential role of cannabis as a part of the solution to the opioid crisis. Like even CNN and Sanjay Gupta was talking about it. But what we don't have is really significant research happening into that issue. So when we do social responsibility initiatives at Canopy, it's really important to us to sort of reach out to leaders in the community and ask them, what do you need? How can we help? What can we do? So we reached out to this really amazing doctor, Dr. Evan Wood, who's a BC-based, world-recognized leader on substance use, and asked him what to do. And he said, we need you to help fund an endowment at UBC. We need at the University of British Columbia, and we need to create the world's first ever professorship of cannabis science. It's actually called the Canopy Growth Professorship of Cannabis Science. And the research and the clinical studies that are going to happen under that professorship are going to have a focus on the role of cannabis and cannabinoids in being a part of the solution to the opioid crisis. So the amazing thing is Canopy put up $2.5 million, and the BC Ministry of Mental Health and Addiction, the BC government, also contributed $500,000 to this endowment. So this research that we're funding, it's like an initiative. First of all, an initiative like this is really like unprecedented, bringing together a publicly traded cannabis company, the university, a hospital, and the BC government. All of these parties are coming together to seed potentially groundbreaking and life-saving research. And I am just incredibly, incredibly proud of Canopy Growth for stepping up and providing leadership and substantial finances around an issue that needs all of our focus and all of our attention, because literally it's an epidemic. People are dying like crazy. It's the public health crisis of our time. And so we have done something really significant, and I'm super proud today.
And congratulations to you and the organization and the government of BC, because it being altruistic, obviously, and helping out those in need is really the most important thing, the thing we have. And then obviously to have a company with some resources that can help that way, and then to donate those resources is to be obviously super commended. And it's interesting because when I sort of became an advocate behind the cannabis, use and obviously very responsibly and everything and medically, it was before I was even a consumer, but it's because I read a lot. I read a lot about stuff like opioid deaths and overdoses, and you talk about whether it's Hastings Street or even just a small town, and it scared me. And then I saw this big report on 60 Minutes, probably about 5-6 months ago. And then the more I read about cannabis, and the more I read about obviously the benefits of cannabis, we don't even have to really get into that, but just the idea that there for some reason there are prescribed opioids that are taking so many lives, and so many lives of our youth and lives of professionals, and this addiction problem that comes with it. I can't thank you guys all enough for this. And honestly, if there's anything we can do as a program, even sit on a board or something. I just love charitable stuff. I love giving back, and most importantly, I love helping human beings, because that saves families. It's more than just one person. It's a network of people, and it's really a beautiful thing.
I couldn't agree with you more. My roots, like starting the first medical cannabis dispensary in the country 20 years ago, the Compassion Club, we put all of the profits of the cannabis distribution into funding a wellness center. So we provided access to healthcare professionals, to nutritionists and herbalists and acupuncturists and massage therapists. And that wellness center was the halo that got the first retail cannabis store in the country accepted and supported by the community. That was really the credibility that we created that started a movement, and that movement is the basis of this industry. So for me, it's there's a continuation of a theme, and what I hope to see is that every single cannabis company in the industry, beyond Canada, worldwide, large or small, has a social responsibility platform, is doing something to give back to some community. I want to see this industry evolve into the most caring, most compassionate, and most generous industry that exists on the planet.
Yeah, and the interesting part about it is anyone you've ever met within this industry from 20, 30 years ago to where it's at today, which is going to be legal, recreational very soon, are those types of people. There is such a good kind of, I compare it to, I've said this for a couple industries that are sort of new and emerging, but to like improv, and we deal with a lot of comedians here, where it's like a very yes and, a very community, a very how do we help out, how do we build on an idea, how do we go and take care of other people, not just ourselves. And I love to hear this stuff. I really do. I'm really not just saying this. I think it is so miraculous, and the stigma of it, for those who still have a stigma within the cannabis industry, maybe even if you don't believe in the side of what's happening right now, because there's still some for some reason who don't, maybe you'll at least go, well, let's embrace this community for giving back and helping out and taking care of stuff that we do know is a problem, and the opioid crisis is something statistically proven that we do know is one major ass problem. Hilary Black, it's really a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for sharing this news with us.
That's absolutely my pleasure, and thank you for having me, Todd. And maybe next time you'll remember me.
Oh, come on! Where are you now? Are you out in Smith Falls now?
You know what? I actually live in a little cabin at the end of the road in a forest on Salt Spring Island when I'm not in airports and hotels. And at the moment, I'm actually sitting on the floor of a conference center in Toronto because they keep me out on the road quite a bit. So, yeah, sometimes I'm in Ottawa, sometimes I'm in Toronto, and sometimes I get to hide away at home in the forest.
Excellent. Is that a conference that anyone can attend this week? And I'm not sure of it. Is it?
Yeah, it's called O Cannabis. And there's a trade show and a bunch of speakers. Shega and Tweed is the main sponsor. the lovely and talented Shega and Adam Greenblatt, who you're clearly such a fan of, and myself and a couple other people will all be on stage sharing our opinions and expertise tomorrow.
Have fun doing that. Obviously, Tweed being the major sponsor of O'Cannabis. And check it out for any information. It's in Toronto. I'm sure you can just find it if you Google that online. And say hi to our friends, Shega, as we know, Hilary, and my favorite, Adam Greenblatt. I'm just saying that now to make up for it. Ms. Black, at MZ Black, thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy your evening, and congrats again on everything you guys are doing over at Canopy Growth.
Such a pleasure. Thanks, Todd.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168.